What's up, everyone? I am Brent Gallagher, and I am here with my wife, Cassie. Hello.
Hey guys.
Look at that. It is odd that we are in two separate locations, but I'm coming to you from the gym. She is coming to you from our home. And what we're doing here with these little 10-minute talks is simply giving you a chance just to kind of peek behind the curtain and help you kind of know what is it like to be a trainer in this quarantine style. We're all struggling with our workouts. We're all struggling with eating. We're all struggling with sleeping. And it's just like, you know what, when you look to a trainer, they're like, oh, they don't have any struggles. They've got it easy. This is like heaven for them. They have not skipped a beat. And so what we thought it'd be fun to do is to interview every single person on the Avenu team and help you get to see what's it really like for them. You get to know, kind of peek behind the curtain, see, hey, what is their daily routine? What's it like to have struggles for them? You know, are they not robots? Are they really, truly human underneath it all there? So fun fact about Cass and I here. This is the fun fact that most people don't know. We're married, and we have been for 14 years, right?
Yep.
Coming up on
Coming up.
Cinco de Mayo. Coming up. You got it right there. I got to it first, so I'm the one that remembered it there before you did. But we're coming up on 14 years here on Cinco de Mayo. So if you're listening to this beforehand, you can reach out Cinco de Mayo. If you can't figure that out, just Google it. It'll help you know when that actual date is there. So, but also another fun fact is we met on a blind date all those years ago. We were set up by a client, actually, well, way back in the day. So, but enough about us, into it all here. We're going to get into you, Cass. This is all about you. So right now, you got everybody's tuning in. They're going, okay, I'm struggling to keep myself fit and healthy. How are you, Cassie? What are you doing to keep yourself fit and healthy during this period of time?
My joke is the margarita day is keeping the corona away. I like my margarita, but I'm not having them every day. For the most part, it's for me trying to keep the routine as much as possible. At the same time, remaining flexible. So routine really works well for me. I thrive in routine. We have shifted from routine to a new routine. And so that kind of like few weeks in between was pretty chaotic. But for me to try to just get back to what I can control in a good, healthy manner, I try to get back to as soon as I can, because that's what brings me just the calmness and the security, and kind of helps eliminate a lot of the stress for me if I can just stick to my routine.
Yeah, so I think you just said it right there, the calmness, the security, you know, it just kind of helps you de-stress from it all. I know that, you know, this isn't just speaking from a husband's perspective. I know that when it is that you are sticking to those routines, you know, knowing that working alongside you for 14 years, obviously being married for 14 years, I know when you do have that routine, you are a much calmer person, just as you said. You know, I can tell that there's a sense of peace when you have it, and when there's not that routine, you know, it is one of those things you can sense it on you. And I think over the years, what we've learned is to recognize that in each other when we're off from our routines, because we are both very routine-driven people. That we do allow the other a little bit of room of showing that person some grace and some forgiveness, knowing that sometimes when they might get a little snappy, it's just probably because we're off of our routine and things aren't kind of working out the way that they need to be. So, you know, the flexibility of things, obviously, that is huge. That is key. But if you're a routine person, what do you do to keep the flexibility of things going? Like, what do you do from not going crazy when the routine doesn't happen the way that it's supposed to?
Yeah, I try to block the time as best as I can. So for me, that's whenever I wake up, I have some time to myself in the morning before I start getting ready. When I'm getting ready, I'm listening to something positive, go to work, do our deal at work. And then when I'm home, I really try to be home with the girls and doing family things. So for the most part, if something kind of comes my way in the middle of the day that has to do with the girls, I really try not to deal with it until I get home and I'm with the girls. Because when I'm at work, I want to be focused at work. When I'm home, I want to be focused at home. So just trying to time block has really worked well for me. And I can say, giving myself permission, like, okay, I'm going to deal with that today, but I'm just going to deal with it later. Right now, I'm here at this place at this moment.
Yeah, and you have it in your schedule at work too as well, right? Like
Absolutely.
every
Yeah. It helps me stay focused and helps me stay on task. And so that way, whenever I'm leaving work for the day, I feel good about what I've done. And I know like I've done all that I needed to do. And then when I can go home, like I said, I can be fully focused at home versus trying to blend the two.
Yeah. Absolutely there. So as we kind of move through these questions, we all want to know, okay, hey, what are you doing right now? But we also want to know, are you human? Do you have struggles too as well? And during this Corona time, we're all facing our own struggles. I know I'm facing my own struggles
Yeah.
there too as well when it comes to a fitness and a healthy lifestyle. What for you has been the biggest struggle when it does come to your health and fitness?
I think continuing to have that me time for myself, because like we're all going through so many things are blended right now. I talked about the time blocking and that really does work well, but at the same time I do have to remain flexible and trying to balance, and juggle all these balls and plates. So just continuing to find time for myself has been hard. So whether that is I'm just going to take a 10-minute walk now to take the recycling out, to check the mail, if that's my 10 minutes for the day, then that's what it's going to be. But everything is kind of just out of routine, even though we're trying to get back to the routine as much as possible. Things are different now. So what I used to do was go to the nail salon and have time for myself. Well, guess what? That's closed. Still get to work out with a girlfriend, which is great. I love that. Trying to make just more time for me and not feeling bad about it.
Yeah. So what do you do to, I mean, so I'd imagine there's a lot of ladies out there and a lot of guys too as well. They're like, hey, I need me time, but my family needs this. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I got to go do that. What do you do to keep yourself from feeling, I think, guilty for taking away that 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I think those thoughts come and that's just natural and human. But if we were to take a look at our day, whether that would be look at your phone and see what you've done for the day, or if you're looking at your calendar to see what you've done, um, in the grand scheme of it all, as much as we give, we also need to take time for ourselves so that we can recharge and replenish and go back and do the same thing the next day. So when those thoughts come, I just remind myself of all I've done for my team for the day, or for my family for the day, or for clients
Hmm.
for the day. And that's just being okay with like, hey, if I'm going to get up and do that tomorrow, I've got to take this 30 minutes to myself to just have some quiet and some recharge.
And if you're listening to that pretty closely, you hear that it was she was putting others first. She said,
Mhm.
hey, if I've taken care of the team, if I've done my best to take care of my family, I can take care of myself. And sometimes that comes in priorities there with it all. I look at it and say sometimes I take care of myself before I go and help others. Where she might put the people first and say, hey, you know
Mhm.
what, I'm going to take care of everybody else. Then I'm going to take care of myself. So it's not to say one way is right or wrong. It's just to say it is a way, and that's the way of your wiring, the way that your temperament is when it comes to making sure that there's some self care that's in there. So you might think that you're a morning time person as far as your workouts go, and you don't get it till the very end of the day, and all these things. You go, okay, which way is better? Sometimes you know what, you got to fill up your cup by pouring into others first. So then later on in the day that you can get your own workout in and kind of refill your cup. Or if you're like myself, it's like, hey, I need to do this first thing as far as from a workout standpoint, so I
Right.
can be on my game to be able to fill up others throughout their day and stuff too as well.
Yeah.
So the last little bit, I know that was encouraging there for everybody to hear. I mean, they're like, wow, this is just like a perfect marriage in unison
Mhm.
here. They're working back and forth. But it's taken us 14 years to kind of get to that point of knowing,
Yeah.
hey, these are her strengths, these are my strengths. And when we work together, it's a good kind of balance between the two. And we have our bad days and we have our great days in there. But it does come back to that self awareness piece that I think both of us have continuously worked on
Mhm.
since day one. We're constantly seeking that out, coaching, guidance, leadership from others to help us not only as individuals but as a couple as well there. So on that bit of note there for Cass, for you, just to finish it all up, if y'all have not can tell, I call her Cass versus Cassie. So you might be like, who is Cass on it all? But so on that last note there, just to
Mhm.
encourage others, they're out of their routine, they're pulling their hair out right now. The kids are running around, their spouse isn't in their normal routine. The day just seems to flow. Work seems to flow into personal life. Personal life seems to flow into personal time. Like it's just like there's no boundaries whatsoever, and they feel
Yeah.
chaotic and they just want to rip their hair out. What can you say to them just to encourage them before
Yeah.
we conclude this?
I would encourage them to know more about themselves. We've got a great resource tool, the workout styles. It's a test that you can take by simply answering 2 questions. It can tell you so much about yourself. So Brent and I learned this long ago and helped develop this, and it has really truly been a lifesaver to just know how I'm wired and really trying to go down that path versus trying to make myself more like Brent. Like he said, he likes to get his workout done in the morning. For me, as soon as I get up, like I want to get the work done, then I can take care of myself, then I can go have some fun. And I like to sprinkle the fun throughout the day in the mix of like the, work and serving others and family and then me. But it's truly just understanding how each of us is wired and trying to live within that, because that's going to be the path of least resistance in a healthy manner, right? Like life is hard as it is. This season is hard. And if we can take a step back and truly try to learn more about ourselves, everything is going to flow so much better. We're going to be better at home. We're going to be better at work. We're going to be better to ourselves, just giving ourselves that grace to understand how we're wired.
I don't know what else I could possibly say. I think that sums it up perfectly there. So if you're looking for that little bit of encouragement, we'll put a link to those 2 little question tests that you can kind of just start to explore a little bit more about yourself to help to build the self-awareness. But if it's a tool that you're like, hey, you know what, I'm not all about all that stuff, what you can do is simply sit down with your loved one and say, hey, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And I guarantee you that they will share with you some insightful stuff that you may not realize about
more
yourself.
Than you might want to know.
More than what you might want to know, but you got to sit there and just listen to it and knowing that they're not trying to be hurtful, they're just trying to be helpful. And that the more that you can listen to this stuff of what it's like to be on the other side of you, the more you might just start to open your eyes and go, wow, I never really realized that. And then the next thing you know, you are, well on your way to building a strong just self-identity, but then also too as well, it helps you in your marriage, it helps you in your parenting, helps you at work, it helps you anywhere that you could possibly be. So Cassie, thank you so much for joining me here on this. And then hopefully all of you are starting to enjoy these little 10-minute conversations where we're walking you through everybody on the team, on the Avenu team. There are 15 and 16 individuals. I don't know, I can't remember how many there are, but we're going to have a conversation with everybody to let you know what it's like to be a trainer. What is it like to be on our side of this equation during this quarantine time? So we hope that you step back and you start to tune in to all of the episodes that we have coming out today, tomorrow, and into the future. And if you're liking them, share them up with a friend, because that can only help just to spread this simplistic message of, you know what, sometimes you got to forgive yourself and just be a natural person there for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time around.